Episode 5 revealed one of the biggest mysteries yet, and of course I'm talking about that one conversation where Ragatha casually mentioned someone Jax used to call a friend. And it's more than obvious that this friend, or honestly his only and closest friend, is none other than Ribbit, who appeared on screen for just a few seconds. But that was enough to tell us everything we needed to know. So today we're diving into what really happened to Ribbit. Why is this such a taboo subject for Jax? How is Pomni involved in all of this? What's coming next? And of course, we're going to talk about whether Ribbit could actually return, maybe not as a regular character like Zooble or Jax, but possibly in the form of an NPC, though some clues suggest we might just see Ribbit climb back out of the basement after all. Let's start at the tip of the iceberg, and right away it becomes clear that Ribbit is a frog. We also got official confirmation that Ribbit was the character who turned into an abstracted monster right before the same thing happened to Kaufmo. And if you think back to that early scene we mentioned at the start of this video, you'll realize just how painful this still is for Jax. Which honestly feels strange, because we're so used to seeing Jax as this unshakable, sarcastic guy like nothing could ever really break him. But this hit different. Even after warming up to Pomni and forming what looked like a genuine friendship, Jax still can't bring himself to talk about the one thing that clearly hurts him most.
What was that about?
It's nothing. Who cares? Doesn't she get on your nerves sometimes?
So, you wanna talk about that?
I'm in a maid outfit, what do you think?
All of that was the foundation of what we know about Ribbit. Now let's dig a little deeper. The sudden bond between Pomni and Jax always felt kinda weird to me, especially since Jax was cold and honestly straight up rude to her throughout the first 3 episodes. Then out of nowhere, it's like a switch flipped, and he turned into this chill, actually likable guy that Pomni genuinely seems to enjoy talking to. And if you dig a little further, you'll remember an old concept that reveals Pomni was originally supposed to be a frog, just like Ribbit. I'm more than convinced all of this is connected, and Pomni is already destined to become Jax's new best and probably only friend. But why did Jax even choose Ribbit as his friend in the first place? There are a few theories, but my favorite is the animal theory. If you think about it for like half a second, it lines up. Jax and Ribbit are both animals. Okay? Sure. Ribbit's technically an amphibian, but you get what I mean. Maybe that's what drew Jax to him, or maybe it was the other way around, and that simple detail is what sparked their entire friendship. For a lot of people, the number one question is, what actually happened to Ribbit? And that's where things get really interesting, because there are a few theories out there, and I'm going to walk you through all of them before telling you which one I personally believe the most. Theory 1 says it was all Gangle's fault.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But if we're being serious, then yeah. Even though Gangle comes off as this sensitive and fragile character at first glance, Episode 4 made it very clear that if something doesn't go her way, the fallout can be brutal. So what if Ribbit was actually the first one to go through something similar to what Jax experienced in Episode 4?
Nobody can see this, right?
It's time for your employee reevaluation.
What if after that Ribbit's mental state just couldn't recover, and day by day, he slowly started losing his mind, eventually turning into the creature we saw? There's even evidence that Jax wasn't always the jerk we know now, but I'll save that for tomorrow because the video you're gonna see will completely flip your entire understanding of the digital circus. No spoilers just yet. Anyway, after Ribbit turned into that monster and got sent to the basement, that's when Jax started becoming the guy who mocks, humiliates, and throws sharp jokes at everyone around him. And have you ever wondered why Gangle became his #1 target?
I'm a New Zealand extremist, and I don't know what New Zealanders threaten people with. Which door should we choose?
Not sure. Let's try this out.
That's just one theory, and the real issue is we don't actually know what Ribbit was like, and that's exactly where Pomni comes in. Remember when I said Pomni and Ribbit are connected if only because they were both meant to be frogs? I'm not sure if the show will ever tie them together directly as characters, but when it comes to personality and behavior, they might be way more alike than we think. That could be the very reason why after all this time Jax chose Pomni as his new partner in crime, because deep down, he sees a reflection of his old friend in her. So now we kind of know what Ribbit was like before turning into an abstracted monster. Maybe a little shy, kind, probably treated others well, and definitely had a strong friendship with Jax. At least that's how we see Pomni now. But let's shift away from that sweet version of Pomni for a sec, and think about her evil version, who, let's be honest, might actually make a great match for Jax.
Ha! Get owned!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She's cool.
So here's a theory: those evil versions are actually reflections of the character's true feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. That means Pomni might not be as sweet as she seems at first glance. I'm not saying she's some villain out to hurt everyone, but there's definitely a rebellious streak in her, and chances are Ribbit had that same spark. That's probably the very thread that kept Jax and Ribbit tight as best friends. But even if we imagine Jax was originally a friendly guy, that spark was always there. And that spark, maybe from an awkward word or too many jokes and teasing between them and others, or even judgment from the rest of the cast, could have pushed Ribbit into depression. That might have eventually led him down to that basement as an abstracted monster. After that, Jax probably hid, or maybe even lost his friendly side, leaving just that spark behind, which now helps him mask his true feelings, while he simultaneously takes shots at Gangle. Which theory makes more sense to you? Or maybe you've got your own ideas. Drop them in the comments, I'd really enjoy reading them. Personally, I'm leaning toward the second theory because it explains why Jax shut everyone out and made the whole Ribbit topic off limits. No one even dares mention Ribbit around him. After all, Jax is the reason his best friend is gone. Maybe he blames himself every single day, and I'm pretty sure the new episode will reveal a lot more about this. There's even another scene with Jax that backs up this theory.
Do you think Gangle is actually capable of being happy?
What?
I don't know, like her comedy mask still breaks every day. Does she think hanging out with Zubul is gonna magically fix that?
Maybe she just doesn't want to hang out with someone who's mean to her all the time.
Aren't you surprised that Jax actually cares about Gangle? It seems wild considering everything we've seen, but there's a reason behind it, and that reason is Ribbit. I'm pretty sure Jax sees in Gangle's constant gloomy state a reflection of the same feelings Ribbit had in his last days in the digital circus, and that's what triggers Jax. Even though he loves to joke and mess with her, deep down he's scared of any repeat of what happened with the abstraction. That's exactly why he left Kufmo's funeral early and went to visit his best friend's room afterward. Now you know pretty much everything that happened with Ribbit and partly with Jax up to this point, but what's really exciting is what comes next. I'm almost 100% sure episode 6 will reveal a lot more about the relationship between these two characters. But first, let's dive into a pretty spicy topic. Could Ribbit actually make a comeback in the amazing digital circus? Right now, we know for sure that Ribbit's hanging out somewhere in the basement with Kufmo and the other unlucky souls. We also remember that turning into an abstracted monster involves a major personality shift, and for a long time, most fans believed there was no way back, since Kane seemed capable of everything except possessing the minds of characters. But let's not forget this moment.
Give me a whiskey sour, but hold the egg white, since I'm a vegan. What? I hate this! How is this even possible? I thought Kane couldn't...
Or even this scene from episode 4. We clearly see that Kane can possess characters' minds, changing their thoughts, feelings, behavior, even habits. So what's stopping him from pulling Ribbit out of the basement, taking over his mind, wiping away all the damage, and basically bringing him back to a normal life? Honestly, nothing's stopping Kane from doing that. But as we know, the digital circus is a closed loop where new faces have to appear and the cast is limited to just 6 characters, so it's unlikely Ribbit will return as a full resident. That said, no one says he can't show up as an NPC, which seems totally possible given how important this character has become. Or maybe he's already here. Did it strike anyone as odd that in episode 5 we started seeing this mannequin more and more often? And considering that this mannequin showed up all the way back in the very first teaser for episode 5, yet never actually appeared in the episode itself, there's a good chance that was a hidden hint from the creators. We've also come to understand who Ribbit really is, and how important he might be for the future of the story. So what if Kane, instead of sending him to the basement like the others, decided to spare him and move his consciousness back into its original form? What if Ribbit's been right there with us this whole time? Honestly, this whole idea got me hooked, so I dove deep and tried to find answers to everything. Hopefully, I actually did.